I'm Representative Katrina Smith from District 62, which is China, Palermo, Somerville, Windsor, and Hibberts Gore. My key legislative issues, well, parental rights is the #1 issue that I have. I have a bill that should be coming to committee someday, but it's not currently there at all. So I would say parental rights, and I'm also trying to do some bipartisan legislation that is good for Republicans and Democrats, and I've had good luck in committee with 2 bills that are just good for the people of Maine, so I'm kind of excited about that. Well, it's hard because so many of them are going against, you know. So we do have a women's sports bill banning biological male in women's sports. We have the Defend the Guard bill, which I find very interesting, and I think is interesting that Senator Brakey is standing up for the National Guard and trying to keep them out of international conflicts. As someone's looking at something that's not always in front of our face, but that's important to people. And then we have a bunch of bills for licensing, just making things easier for the people of Maine to do business and improve their lives. Obviously, I knew you wasted a lot of time in the legislature. They have legislative time so that things start later than you would think, but totally wasting months is a surprise. You know, we've spent 2.5 months here and just really gotten into committee work and things like that. So unfortunately, we're wasting a lot of time and doing sentiments for people, which is nice to clap for people, but you know, it's just not getting the business done. The other thing I guess I would find is the debate that happens behind the doors, which I think is good. It's healthy, gives us all an idea of what other people are thinking. The lack of being able to find a unified front. You'd think Republicans, you know they think differently, but there's some vast differences within the Republicans. And I think more people should know that, but try not to.
Did that come to as a surprise to you?
It did, when you think some things are so obvious that you can't stand, that we are working against the Democrats, and to give them anything from the very start was a surprise to me. Like, why would you do that? You shouldn't have done it at the beginning. You should have stood firm at the beginning. So it was a disappointment. Whenever I have feedback from my constituents, I have a very conservative district, so they definitely just say, go get them, stay on track, we support you, believe in you. Of course you get some detractors, but that's okay too. But definitely people have been supportive and wanting to stand up to the other side. I'll tell you when we had the budget vote. We voted on 2 inconsequential bills before the budget vote, one about plastic bags and one about something else. And the Democrats called a roll call. And I knew then that they were showing us their power. They were saying, we don't care what the bill is. Before the budget vote, we're going to show you that you're never going to win. And so they all voted, yes or no on it, and we all voted the other way, and we lost. We lost 2 very small bills right before that budget vote, and it was just to show us that they weren't going to listen. And honestly, I see people looking at me in the hallways now, Democrats, and they're not looking at me the way they did when we first started. They're not smiling, they're not friendly. I still will be, but I see a shift in quite a few people, and it's gone from, oh, we're all freshmen in this together, to not communicating.
Do you think the Maine people understand that that's going on, or do you think that kind of gets lost in the noise out there?
I think they do. I think they understand better than us, because some of these people are friendly with the other side, and I'm friendly with a few of them too, but the people out there in Maine, all they know is the battle. All they know is that the way the state is going and that it's the other side's fault. So I think they keep it more in their minds that those are the people that we shouldn't be negotiating with better than we do. I don't know, I think the human interest ones deserve more of a look from the other party. You know, these things are important to their constituents and they just don't care. They just know they're against them and they don't care to hear from the constituents. So I think that's too bad. I think that we could still find some ways to do bipartisan bills that affect Maine people. My two bills, one was a bill to fund the tick lab and for Lyme disease, because I think Lyme disease is something that's plaguing all of Maine, and it's something we can come together on. And the other one was to tighten up the protection order from abuse time frame of a process being served. But there are those things in the state that we can come together on, but I don't think many people try to find one that's both people are for. I think right now that representatives are doing a great job. I mean, every week you'll see myself, Reagan Paul, Rachel Henderson, all these representatives sharing what's happening in their committee, Shelley Rednicki. You really only have to open your eyes on Facebook or some Instagram, and it's there. We could probably do a better job getting people on our email list and things, but in terms of social media, you should know what's going on. You just have to look for it, because we're banned. You know, we're shadow banned, so I'm not going to pop up in your feed, but definitely, if you look for it every week, you'll find the information. That's right. I think. I hope to really just get people's hopes up that we can change Maine. I mean, what happens in these walls is not going to go our way. I never thought that it would be. Our battle is keeping people encouraged and getting them involved in the process and getting them ready for the next election. So it's just encouraging people, making them informed, and that's all we can do. Realistically, like, let's be realistic, you know. So just my hope is that people will see the battles we had and see what bad happened here, and that they'll know about it and be able to fight in the next election. Yeah, just my Facebook and my Instagram are both pretty much the same. So Representative Katrina Smith on both, and as much as I hate social media, you know, I do put all the stuff there. So, and help me with my trolls. You can come comment.
It's a necessary evil.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm old enough to know the good days we had in Maine, when we knew our neighbors and we didn't know their political affiliation. I think that's behind us, unfortunately. I would wish that it would be the future, but I'm not sure that it is the future of Maine to go back to being conservative, or just allowing freedom, allowing us to be who we are. I unfortunately think that's probably behind us, but I'll keep fighting. But there's so many bills in Maine. We're just a secondary California. We need to realize that, and maybe we'll fight hard enough to turn that around, but I'm not sure we can.
Well, Representative Smith, thank you very kindly for taking a few minutes with us.